Good afternoon, Year 2. Welcome to your geography lesson. It was quite a complicated topic, so I thought that I would record this video of me talking you through a PowerPoint that I've made. So today we're going to be learning about rivers. I'm going to be looking at how rivers are made and how they form, where they travel to. Now, rivers are really, really important, and we're going to look at some of the reasons why rivers are so important to us. But just to start us off, can you think of any reasons why rivers are important? Is there anything that we couldn't do without a river, or is there anything that might stop happening without a river? So have a think about that. You can tell someone if you've got someone to tell it to, or you could even possibly pause this video and write it down. So I'm going to move on, and I'm going to show you a little video clip, and I want you to think about what show is this video from? Where do you think the place is that's on the video? And what can you see in this video? Okay, so do you know what show it's from? It was actually from EastEnders. And where is it? Well, it's a big city that we know lots about from our topic in history. It's London. Okay. Did you see anything interesting in that video? Did you see the long snaky thing? What was that? That's right, it was a river. And that's the River Thames in London. We know all about the River Thames because that's when people went to escape the Great Fire of London, didn't they? They ran into the river and they got on boats. Now, the River Thames is very, very important to London. Okay, but we're going to be looking at some other rivers. We're going to look at a river a bit closer to our home. So, first of all, have you ever visited a river? And where was it? What was it like? What could you see? What could you hear? What could you feel? Was it a slow river? Was it a fast river? Was it narrow or was it very wide? Did it look dangerous or did it look quite peaceful? There are lots and lots of different rivers. So do you know where the river was that you visited? So we're going to look at a river close to us, where we live. So I'm just going to show you a map. Now we're going to have a look at Google Maps here, and we're going to zoom in on our home area. So this map is of what we call the northwest of Lancashire. So lots of these places around where we live. Now you can see, if you look towards the bottom, you can see Preston, okay? And if you look towards the left near where the sea is, you can see Blackpool, okay? And if you look at where it says Blackpool Pleasure Beach, that's not quite where our school is, but quite close to it, not far away. Maybe you could ask your mum and dad if they could point out where you live on there. So let's have a look at this map and let's zoom in a little bit. So let's see where we're going to go. Can you see any rivers? So now we're a bit closer. Can you see that big stretch of blue? That is a river, and that's called the River Wyre. Let's follow it. Can you see it ends at the sea? Let's go the other way. Okay, so this is the River Wyre, and that's a river close to us. Can you see all the water coming off it? All the little pools that are attached to it. And can you see how it snakes and winds its way all the way across the country? Look how far it goes. Still going. Can you see? And now there's lots of separate little parts to it. So we'll zoom out there, and we've moved all the way across to near Beacon Fell. And that is close to where the source of that river is. And a source of a river is where a river begins its life. And that's really important. Now, this river, the River Wyre, its source, where it forms, is in the Forest of Bowland, in a place called Bowland Fell. And rivers always form in places that high up, like big hills and mountains. And that's really important because there's a lot of rain on hills and mountains, which help to make the pools of water that eventually form into rivers. It takes a very, very long time. So as a river fills up, it flows down the mountain, and more water flows, and it starts to erode the ground around it. So what happens is the rock starts to break into little bits, and it makes a little gap for the water to flow in. And the more water that's in it, the more it can flow. And then it joins up with other streams of water until, if, like you can see in that map, where all the little streams are coming towards it, and that makes a big river. And as you can see by the end of that river, it comes out at the sea. Now, all rivers eventually lead to the sea. They flow downhill and they flow through places until they get to the sea. So that's the River Wye near us. So now we're going to think about how different people use rivers. Now we're going to be doing a bit of work on this, so really listen carefully. So how do people use rivers? Well, lots of people use river water to drink from, because river water is often very fresh. Now, if people are in the countryside or if they're camping, they can drink from river water. As long as that water is flowing, that means it's not still, it's moving, okay? Because it's fresh water, unlike seawater, which is salty. So you can't drink seawater, but you can, if you need to, drink river water. So it's important for drinking water. And lots of towns are built and cities are built near rivers because people can then get water from the river and they can set up their plumbing with it. People also use rivers to swim in for fun. And some people also use them to clean themselves. So in some countries, people go and they bathe in the water and they clean themselves in the water of the rivers. Farmers sometimes use rivers to water their crops, their vegetables. So you can see here, there's a river running alongside some crops. And what the farmer's done is he's put little pipes in to help water his crops. So that water will come up those little pipes, those little tubes, and fill the grass and the soil and all the plants with all the water that they need to grow really big and strong. And that's really important for farmers. Lots of people go fishing for food in rivers. We get lots of sea creatures, not sea creatures because it's a river. We get lots of river fish and other river animals. Rivers are also very useful for transport and to carry goods from one place to another. So if someone wants to take lots and lots of things from one town to another, they might load them onto a boat and drive down the river. It's a very quick way of doing it. Rivers often have something called a port. Now, port is an important word. These are places where boats can park to deliver things. So you can see here, this is actually a canal port, but river ports are very similar. And they have places for boats to pull up, tie themselves down so people can offload the things that they've carried on their boat and take them onto land, and they're called ports. Okay? When a river flows, some people put what's called a dam, and a dam is a special wall that holds water and uses the power of the water moving to spin special wheels that make electricity. So dams are very important to make electricity, and they need strong flowing rivers to do that. Now, I just want you to watch this video. This explains the journey of a river from the start to the finish.
Rivers are home to a whole host of different types of animal and plant life. But where do rivers come from?
You know, up there?
Many rivers start high up in hills or mountains. This is where its source is found.
What are we looking for anyway?
The source of the river.
Well, we can't see much around here.
Come on.
There are a few different types of river source. It can be a lake, a bog, rainfall, or a spring.
I think I find it.
A spring is where water is released from under the ground. But the same thing happens whatever the source. Water from the source trickles downhill, forming a small stream, which joins another stream to make a bigger stream. This happens all the way down the hill until you get
A river!
The flow of the water slows as a river twists and bends, meandering its way through the countryside. But where does it go?
The sea?
Yes! Rivers lead to the sea or a lake, and the place where it enters the sea or lake is called the river mouth. Rivers that flow into the sea form an estuary where fresh water from the river mixes with the salty water from the sea. It's not just animals that choose to live near rivers. People love to live near rivers too.
Ooh, nice house.
Yeah, I'd like to live there.
Not me.
Why not?
Floods.
Yeah, floods can be a problem for people living near rivers. Building river defences or diverting the path of the river to a safe area can help to minimise the risk.
Okay, well, maybe it wouldn't be so bad then.
So that had lots of important information about rivers. Now, you might need to watch that video again if you want for the activity we're going to do later on. So you can always rewind this video and go back to that and watch it again. So finally, we're going to zoom into the continent of Africa to look at a river from the world. So this is Africa, one of the continents of the world. And you can see the little pin drop on there. That's where we're going, to somewhere near Zimbabwe. Okay, so we'll zoom in a bit more, a little closer. Can you see a river yet? A little closer. Can you see it now? Can you see that blue strip going across the land? And even closer, and we're at a place, here we are, called the Zambezi River. And it has a very, very important natural wonder on it that we often find at rivers, not always, but sometimes. Have a look at this picture. This is called the Victoria Falls, which is a waterfall. And it's called the Mosi O Tunya, which means the smoke that thunders. I wonder why it's called the smoke that thunders. Have a think. What do you think about that? And this is a very impressive sight, and people come from all around the world to see this waterfall. It's the tallest waterfall in the world with the longest drop. A waterfall forms when a river flows over hard rock to softer rock. So rivers flow over the earth, and sometimes they flow over hard rock, which is hard for the river to break down. But sometimes they flow into softer rock. And what happens is eventually the rivers crack away at that rock and it crumbles and it makes a giant drop. And then that water that's flowing from the river can drop straight down and carry on its journey below. Now there's waterfalls near us too. Here is a picture of a place called Ingleton Falls, which isn't far away in a county called Yorkshire. It's really close to us. Have you ever been here? I bet some of you have. It's really, really good. And there's lots and lots of waterfalls. Okay, so your tasks today in your geography, I'll just quickly talk you through them. Your first job that you're going to do is you are going to describe for me the three main parts of a river's journey. Okay, you're going to draw a picture of each part and then write some sentences about what happened at each point. So remember, at the river starts high up in a hill or mountain from rainwater, which begins to fall. Okay, then the water rolls down the hill and it joins up with lots of other streams to make a river. And then at the end, the river flows to the sea. And the opening of a river that goes into the sea is called the river mouth. Okay? Now, when you've done that, and I want you to make it as lovely and pretty as possible, your second job is going to be to draw me some pictures. I think there's 4 to do, of some things that people use rivers for. So why rivers are important. So have a think about what people use rivers for, how they're important to our world, how they're important to our survival, how they're important to travel and delivering things to different places. So have a think about that. Remember, great, neat sentences. Finally, if you've got time, and you might need mum or dad or whoever's looking after you to help you with this, I want you to research for me. So use Google Maps, or if you've got an atlas at home, find me a river in the UK, so the United Kingdom where we live. And I want you to find what the name of that river is. I want you to tell me a place that that river flows through, so a place that the river goes through on its journey to the sea. And then I want you to tell me the name of the sea that the river empties out into. And then for the second part, I want you to do the same, but for any river in the world. You can use Google Maps for that as well. So any river in the world, you are going to find one, tell me a country it flows through, and then tell me which sea or ocean it empties out into. Okay, good luck year 2, and thank you for all your hard work. I hope you found this interesting. See you soon.